A week of rotating strikes. How are you feeling today about this whole work escalation?
Well, I mean, discouraged by the fact that the government is maintaining its positions that will erode the quality of education. They still want to massively increase class sizes. They want to take away students' course options. As we saw on Monday, they have a secret e-learning plan that's all about cutting costs out of school boards. That has nothing to do with quality of education. In fact, it's not mentioned once in that document. So that part's troublesome. But what we've seen now is the other education unions are now in a position to take action. First time in over 20 years that we've been in this sort of situation. And while the Minister of Education points the finger of blame at everybody but himself, it's clear that the common denominator here is the Ford education agenda and the cuts they're trying to impose on our students' education environment.
What effect do you think that the other boards taking action now, like yours, what do you think have on these talks?
Well, I think it simply raises public awareness to the cuts that this government has already unilaterally imposed and wants to deepen over the next several years. And it takes away the minister's claim that this is somehow, somehow an OSSTF issue. This is across the board in education. It's from JK to grade 12. The opposition to their approach is happening everywhere, including amongst parents and the general public. And I think that's the message that it sends.
And this is the fifth week, as we said. Why not at this point go to a full-blown strike?
We've taken a very, very measured approach in terms of trying to balance the impact that it has on students.
Tell the people how much money you make a year, Mr. Bischoff.
So we tried to balance that with the need to raise public attention on the issues. And so that's why we've taken this very measured approach.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you to say that again, if you don't mind. Just from the beginning.
It with the teachers. It's the friggin' school boards mismanaging the money.
Just why, again, why not a full-blown strike at this point?
So we've taken a very measured approach. We've tried very carefully to balance the needs of students and the disruption that it causes in students and in parents' lives with the need to raise public attention to the cuts that this government has already begun to unilaterally impose. And so for that reason, we've tried to moderate the impact this has, and we think it's been relatively successful so far.
Do you think you're going to gain more through doing this, though, than going to a full-blown strike where you could be legislated back to work?
Well, actually, we've done internal polling every week since we began taking action, and what it demonstrates over and over again is that parents are in support of the positions that we have taken. They oppose larger class sizes. They oppose mandatory e-learning. They want their children to have access to the supports that education workers bring to the system, and so it seems to be working in that regard.
We're going to hear more from parents now. Since the elementary schools are out, parents are going to be needing childcare, which isn't the case usually in secondary schools, but it could work in your favor, it could work against you when parents start speaking out. What do you think the government is going to do once parents start making their views known?
Well, parents have already made their views known. They made them known through the government's own consultation, the consultation that the government tried to keep secret and got leaked, and parents said overwhelmingly they don't support the Ford education agenda. They don't support bigger class sizes. They don't want mandatory learning. They want those education workers in our schools supporting students.
This is the fifth day of rotating strikes. By your own admission, by the government's admission, it really hasn't brought anybody back to the table. When does an escalation happen?
At the appropriate time, but what I'd much prefer is that we get back to the table and that we start talking about proposals that will maintain the quality of education in Ontario. We have a minister who's still stuck on cutting funding out of the education system, still eroding the quality of education. He needs to listen to parents. There's a path to a deal, but it runs right through what parents have already told him in their own consultation that they tried to bury.
One of the things that a lot of people worry about in terms of now 4 boards that are taking job action is parents starting to turn on the unions. Is there a worry on your behalf that might happen?
Absolutely, we're concerned about parental support, and we're concerned about disruption that this causes in students and parents' lives. And I'm a parent myself, so I understand that at the gut level. But while we have that in mind, what we've seen is parents understand that these short-term actions are far less damaging than the long-term clumsy cuts that this government is trying to make to the education system. This is a government that doesn't understand that education is an investment in our children's future, an investment in the future economy that these students will graduate into, but parents clearly get that and have demonstrated that. They demonstrated it with a press conference that a parent group or several parents groups held again yesterday. So I think we see pretty clear evidence of that.
When was the last time you sat down with the province?
So the last time we actually met with the province was December the 16th. We had been scheduled for 2 days to meet at that time, and the halfway through the first day, the mediator felt that we were too far apart. The process at that point was more frustrating than it was productive. So we await. We're in the hands of the mediator. When she invites us back to the table because she thinks it will be a productive time to begin discussions again, then we'll certainly go back to the table.
What is it you want to say to the minister today?
I want to say that, as I said, there's a path to a deal, and it runs exactly through what parents told them in the consultations that they themselves conducted. That path runs through supporting quality of education, through maintaining the caring professionals in our schools, and not trying to force students into an untried Alabama-style e-learning model.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I think that covers it.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks.